going over why she's here. What is this book about? I've not read it fully, but I will give a little bit of glimpse on what Rachel is going to do. Okay. First of all, she has dedicated this to her grandfather. Her grandfather fought almost every war, every major war that India fought from 1940s till 1970. So a great family and a proud soldiers family. She'll be happy. And I was just talking to her before the meeting, and both her parents are teachers. So Shikshikar Maneinda Bandiyara. So she's got all that. Basically, she's got everything perfect. From a soldier's family, from a teacher's family, and Disha Bharat, and with Rajesh Padmar and Rakesh and others are guiding over here. And Utkarsh is sitting on the back, from the ABVP. These are the people who are helping, mentoring, bringing these programs in. One thing that really struck me was that she started off with Bharat, not India. So we know that, there's already a good thinking that has gone into the young brain that is sitting over there. And of course, our Vice Chancellor sir will talk more about details, but I'll just cover some basics. I was asking her before the launch, what exactly do you have in mind for youth? Because I really wish that more youth get to know about this book and go into this. Because when it comes to 2047, our Prime Minister talks all the time, Viksit Bharat, right? We all talk about $30 trillion economy. We are now, 4 trillion, we will become 10 trillion, we will become 30 trillion. Numbers are good. I love numbers. I always talk about numbers. But what is it for the youth in that numbers? So one of the things that really struck me is that out of like 370 or 380 pages that she's got, I just quickly browsed through. More than 200 pages, she's got only quotes. I really want the young people over here to read through that. Right from Kuvempu all the way till, Tilak to everybody she's got, all the freedom fighters, different areas she's got, from Abdul Kalam ji and everybody. What she has given, this is not a typical book where you just go into index and say, okay, page number 47, 5th chapter, 6th chapter. She's got that continuity. I will definitely go through that fully and give her more details, but I was very impressed the way she's organized the book. A lot of quotes for almost 200 pages, and then she has given her ideas, and then she has taken it further for the another 150, 200 pages. When somebody can go into such depth, get the best possible quotes, and then try to inspire the youth, it means that they've done their homework. And they need a much bigger platform, they need a lot of support, and we need them to speak up for the youth. I was asking her the next point. One was about her book, one was about the family. Then I was asking her, what can women do in 2047? I know there are very few women over here, and thank you Shubham and others for coming and talking to that, but more people will know from the women who have come here, because they are very influential women, they will talk to others. I was just giving her an example of what exactly means by our women participation in the labor force. Because that is one of the things. If India has to become a $30 trillion economy, women have to play the bigger role. It has to be a very, very big role. And how can they play a big role? We'll have to just enable that. And how to enable for a young person like that to analyze and come up with good ideas, and then maybe she will do a continuation. Maybe the next book or the next talk or whatever she does could be women-centric, because that is where Mudra loans or any of the schemes that you take in the last 5, 10, 15 years, women are making use of it and then coming further. Because I've also watched, my mother was also a working woman, I've seen it from 1980s, 90s. The situation today for women is definitely much more better, more opportunities, because coming from the software field, I've seen how women can capitalize on the knowledge industry and come on. So we have that third point, which is the women-centric things. And I'm very hopeful that Rachel Fernandez kind of people can come up with good thinking, and since this is a thinkers forum, they can bring up more thoughts and help us with women, giving more highlights to women, giving more motivation to women, and becoming a part, making women a part of this mainstream, which can propel India's GDP. Because that is very important. And the last point that I want to talk about is, we all talk about Viksit Bharat. I'm sure Viksit Bharat is not just a drawing board anymore. It is actually shaping up. I was just reading one of the interviews of a very famous Cisco chief, who is now an India-US business relationship person, and he was telling that the first 5 years of our Prime Minister, he was making way for the next 5 years. The second 5 years, the Prime Minister was making way for the next 25 years. But right now, this 5 years, where we are in right now, he is making a plan for the next century, 100 years. And this is coming from one of the biggest and the best brains of Cisco, who is now, the India-US Business Forum's chief. When such statements come from them, keeping politics aside, BJP, Congress, politics and all are separate, the recognition that India is getting from such people is enormous. So what is this Viksit Bharat? Why these kind of efforts are very important for Viksit Bharat? Because we all know about demographic dividend. Everybody knows of demographic dividend here? Anybody wants me to say more? Essentially, it means that the working population is far more than non-working population. That means people in that 17 or 18 age group till about 59, the working hands, the feeding hands, which is way more than the other things. We are already in the demographic dividend. 2018 till about 2050s, the demographic dividend will be there. And 2041 is the year where demographic dividend will be at the highest. That means that is considered as the peak, wherein 59% of India will be in the top, or what they call as the prime working mode. 59%. That means for every 6 people who are working, only 4 people will be dependent on them, which is very opposite to what it was in 1960s, where there were only like 20-30% of the people working and the remaining were all dependents. That's why India could not propel at that time. This is a great opportunity. But after the peak in 2041, it will come down. It will come down. So right now you are seeing that Japan is getting very old. I just recently heard that 40,000 people died in Japan at their homes when they were alone, elders. And 8,000 of them were found after 1 month. So such a society is nightmare to remember. India is our culture, our sanskar, and all the AMS that she talked about, that will not make India ever get to that, hopefully. So we are a young country, and we are going to be a young country at least for the next 3 decades. And that is where this 2047 becomes important, because the peak of demographic dividend will be 2041. We have to make use of it, because we are seeing all those students in Bangladesh, students in Kenya, students in many other, Venezuela. That is not what we want. We don't want those, anarchy and protests and others. What we really want is productive path for the youth. How do we give the productive path for the youth? Because in 2047, India's population will be somewhere in 167, 168 crores. How do we give out of 168 crores, 112 crores will be in working age? How do we generate so many jobs? Where do we do it? These are the young thinkers who will have to come together, work hard, ideate, and under the guidance of Rajesh, kind of luminaries who are in the academic field, come up with that skill mindset, fill the gap, and bring up like our friend like Bharat, who's sitting in the front desk. He's an entrepreneur. Rakesh is an entrepreneur. They are the ones who are giving jobs. These are the ones who are preparing people for jobs. How do we work on reducing that skill gap? Because Skill India, Startup India, Stand Up India are all good things. At the end of the day, unless the youth see a value in it, unless the youth become a part of that revolution, instead of the revolutions that we are seeing in other countries, they become a productive revolution, India will have a hard time. So India is sitting on the most potent phase, as I told you. Either we make it or break it, it's up to us. If we don't give them the right kind of ideas and jobs and education, sanskar and others, they will go the other way. And then it becomes a nightmare. It's not a demographic dividend, then it's a demographic disaster. That's what will happen. So we need more positive thinkers like her. We need more books like this, and we need you to read and give her ideas and make it as a part of a big movement like Disha Bharat. So with that being said, I am very optimistic, I am very hopeful, and I request each one of you to give your positive feedback and any criticism, anything that you want to say over the period to her, and make budding writers like her more successful and make India Vishwa Guru. Thank you very much.